share. Hello, 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 everyone.
Hello.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays.
Woo!
Welcome to the Let's Do This Talk radio show. We are so excited. This is our last show for 2018.
Yes.
So we are going to really have some fun towards the end of the program. As you all know, today we're going to be talking about a very serious topic. We're going to be talking about dealing with death and dealing with loss, especially around the holidays.
Yes.
We're going to tap into some other various topics as well, but get your tissues, and I just want to let everybody know, heads up, this is a very sensitive topic for me. So for us. So just bear with us today. It's a very serious topic, but we're going to get through it because we think it's like some very important information that can help you all, that you all can use. So we'll talk a little bit more about our guests, but right now, how we're going to do quick introductions. Bernie Mac.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was looking for us on, I don't see us on WBGR.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bernadette Bronner. I am the empowerment. I'm BB from BB Coaching and Consulting. I empower women through personal development coaching. I am also the founder of Sisters Helping Empower Each Other, a nonprofit organization that gives back to the community.
Allison.
Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Daniels. I am an author of over 31 books. I am also the founder of Women Empowered to Win program, and also I am the writer of the book Right to Finish, coming out soon.
And Allison is our contributing host, but she is going to be sitting with us through the entire show, and she'll still do her individual set.
Yes.
You already know who the sound effect is over here. Tina, tell them a little bit about you.
Hello, this is Tina Turner. How are you? I am the owner of Smooches Boutique, and I am a co-author of Sharing Our Prayers, and also the CEO of Motivate and Empower Me. And with Motivate and Empower Me, we support and serve women and a few men. We're growing. Emerging entrepreneurs. And also, I host a annual platform for leaders to come and share, all of their expertise and their tools, and help other entrepreneurs to take those tools and go out and start their businesses as well.
Yes, so y'all know me. It's your girl, Ladrine Peterson. I am the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And y'all know what I do. So I help turn dreamers into doers. So we're gonna keep it brief with our intros. We normally talk about our weekends and what we did, but we have a packed show, and we are going to go ahead and get started a little bit. So our guests, VIP guests, are going to be calling on the phone. So once the first guest calls in, then we'll get started with Reverend Smith. But before that, let's just jump into dialogue.
Okay.
So in terms of dealing with the loss, there are so many factors that people go through. And I will start off by sharing my story. And I have openly shared it with a lot of people. So on August the 5th of this year was the death number one for me. And that was when my uncle passed away. And since then, I have dealt with 19, 20. I stopped counting, honestly.
Wow.
And that's just up until last weekend, where on Saturday I went to 2 funerals. Like, it was at the same time. So that was kind of crazy and kind of different from me. But we are going to go ahead and proceed with our guests. And then what we'll do is we'll jump into dialogue. So, although our guests are on the phone, please, any questions that you have, any issues that you have, please send them in the feed. Bernie will be tracking and monitoring through Facebook Live the way that we normally do. We won't be taking phone calls until the very end of the show because that's the mechanism that we'll be using for our guests to call in. Okay? So we have Reverend Irene Smith on the line, so we're going to bring her into the conversation.
Hello, Reverend Smith.
Yes,
Hi, welcome. You're on the air.
Hi, Reverend Smith. How are you? It's Ladrine.
doing well. Thank you all for inviting me to come this evening and be a part of your programming.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for
coming.
Yes, and we're so excited to have you. And instead of reading your entire bio, I'll ask that you just begin by telling our audience a little bit about yourself, and then we will jump and dive right into the conversation.
Okay. Well, I am I was raised in Georgia, single parent because my dad died when I was 5 years old. Graduated from high school, and 2 weeks after high school, my mom had made arrangements for me to go right to college, which I thought was just asinine. Couldn't believe she did it, but she did. And from there, I got a job, came to D.C., and all that time, I was always in church, and didn't always do right, but I was always in church. And the Lord just blessed and just opened doors for me, and married and have 3 sons and 3 grandsons, and came to Mount Eden Baptist Church, and it was a very small church. I just felt connected to it. It reminded me of home, and just settled in there, and the Lord just moved me from one degree of grace to another, and called into the ministry, something I didn't seek after, something I didn't want, something I tried to run from, but the Lord just would not let me be. And so I told my pastor at the time about my call, and of course I was the first woman accepted at the church, and it was a growing experience. And,
Sure.
I'm thankful for it. And so I started working with other ministers, just following in their path, watching them, and just allowing the Lord to grow me and to where I am today. And so I'm just thankful for opportunity. And I tell everybody, whatever you do, be thankful for opportunity. And when opportunity comes, grab it.
Right.
Yes.
Don't let go.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and I'll just briefly share. I'm a member of Mount Eden, and I talk about Mount Eden all the time on the show, whether it be from an experience from Bible study or my Reverend Rice or however it goes. But in terms of like Reverend Smith, I shared with everyone that I attended a sorrow and grief session. And it impacted me so much that I felt like it needed to be raised on a higher platform. And immediately I went and spoke with her. And then along the way, as we were waiting for the date to come up, she did a session on wholeness. So, Reverend Smith, we will have to bring you back about that whole topic. I tried to hide in the back. But when they started talking about dreams and everything else, it was just like an instant connection. But the purpose today is to talk about dealing with the loss. And you can take the topic however you choose to do it, because everything, just from me sitting in that session with you, it helped me so greatly. So you can take the floor from here. We'll dialogue with you. Anyone on Facebook, please put your questions into the feed, and Bernie will be monitoring those. Reverend Smith?
All right. So when we talk about grief and sorrow, oftentimes we think that the only occasion that we're talking about is death. But actually, anytime you experience a loss of any kind, whether it be a loss of a job, whether it be divorce, whatever it might be, that loss, you are grieving. And so in our sessions, we talk about, and we have opened the door for everyone to come who who's experiencing loss. So we talk about there are at least 5 stages of grief, and you can break them down into larger components or smaller components, but the first is shock and denial. Upon hearing about the loss of a loved one or a divorce, there is shock and denial. You can't believe it. This can't be happening to me. It's like something has happened to my day. It's interrupted my life, interrupted my day, interrupted the flow of what I know is normal. And now nothing is normal anymore.
Right.
And sometimes you make yourself, you talk yourself into believing that perhaps I'm just dreaming, or I'm just going to pretend that this didn't occur. I'm just going to send this person away on vacation for a while. And as crazy as that sounds, we do that because we don't really want to accept that fact that our loved one is no longer with us. The next stage would be pain and guilt. And I think the pain of losing someone and the guilt that we sometimes allow to ride us, to cast a heaviness upon us because we begin to question ourselves. Well, if I had just stayed in the room, well, if I had just called, well, if I had just, and we go through that, I call it Monday morning quarterbacking. It's that guilt, and we have to let go of that guilt. We have to let go. We've done all that we were supposed to do. And if we didn't, then you know what? God is such a gracious God. If we just ask him to forgive us, he does. But the person that has gone on, trust me, they know your heart and they know your mind. And more often than not, you more likely did everything that you could. And what I've learned is that none of us can be in the role of Jesus. So if you did, it wouldn't have changed the situation.
Exactly.
None of us can do what Jesus does. And we have to come to that. And we say, if I had just gotten to the hospital, if you had gotten to the hospital, trust me, the same thing would have occurred because you're not Jesus. I'm not Jesus. And we have to put it in his hands. And then we go into anger and bargaining. And in our group, we have, I love it because it's an open dialogue and people are free to speak what their heart feels, and there's no one looking down on them or casting dispersion. And a lot of times people say, I am angry with God, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay to be that honest with God because he already knows. And so when you express it, then we can talk about, why are you angry with God? I'm angry with God because I prayed and I asked God to save my loved one. I prayed. I fasted. I read scripture over them. I went to church. I talked to this person. I had everyone to come out. I anointed them. And still, I took them home. And so then we're reminded, I love scripture, we are reminded about David, how he prayed for his young son to live. And the answer was no. God did not let the child live. And David says, while my child can't not come back to me, one day I will go to my child. I said, oh my God. Thank you, Lord, for that revelation. And then he reminds us that even the Apostle Paul, he prayed for this thing that was in his flesh, this thorn that was in his flesh, that God would remove it. And 3 times the Bible said he prayed, and God simply said no on the 3rd time. My grace is sufficient. So it teaches us that we cannot look at God as a Santa Claus given the season. Not that we believe in it, but we can't look at God as always. We have to see God in his fullness, and sometimes we only see God in the part and the manner that we want to see him. We don't see him as a God that says no, but Scripture says that he's a father. And a good father will not always say yes to our demands. A good father knows when to say no to us. And for whatever reason, God determines to call our loved ones home. He calls them home. And it is a difficult place to be in, especially now for someone who has lived a long life, 80, 90 years. Okay, then you know what? We can say, oh, you know what? Even though it hurts, they lived a long life.
Yeah, long fruitful life.
But, but what do you do? What do you do
still
with your
don't do it.
anger when it's your baby? And when it's your baby and this young child, this infant has been born, and this infant is born with this condition, and you have to day after day watch this child in the hospital, surgery after surgery after surgery, and then God calls that baby home. And when you're thinking, okay, this baby is going to be okay because it's a baby, what do you do with your anger? When you're just driving a car and the car hits you and your child in the back seat gets the impact of the car and the child dies, what do you do with your anger? What do you do with your anger when your 15-year-old, 16-year-old, is shot? What do you do with your anger? You take your anger and you give it to God.
Amen.
And you say to God, God, I'm angry. I am hurt. I don't understand why you allowed this to happen, God. That's where you go with your anger. And God has a way of taking all that anger once we give it to him, and he turns that thing around in ways we can't even begin to comprehend, and he takes it little by little by little by little. He takes that anger from us, and he heals us. He heals us in a way that we come to the place where we say, I don't understand why God did what he did, but I trust him in the midst of all of it. Because the truth of the matter is, we live in a sin world. And because we live in a sin world, we can't expect that good things are only going to happen to good people, and bad things are only going to happen to bad people. No. Scripture says that the sun shines on the good and the evil. It rains on both. And so in this life, Jesus said we're going to have some trials. We're going to have some tribulations. But be of good cheer, for I've overcome. That scripture means nothing until you're going through. Nothing until you're going through. If you ain't going through, that's just words. You just
Right. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Trust me, when you're going through, you say, oh, okay, God, I got this thing now. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
And he says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So all your anger, for somebody who's listening right now, all your anger, angry with God, angry with your family, angry with your spouse, angry with friends, angry with anybody that comes into your path because of what has happened to you, you got to let it go.
Let it
And you
go.
gotta
Let it go.
Let it go.
You have to let it go.
Have to let it go. And we hold on to that anger. Family members stop speaking to each other. 10, 15 years. Why? Because mama loved me more than she loved you. Come on. You know, we bring out all the things. All this anger has a root. It has a root. And we got to dig that root up. And sometimes that root has been there for years. It's jealousy and envy and a whole lot of stuff. And this just gives you the permission to release on somebody that you've been wanting to release on for some years.
Right.
Yes.
And so,
Long
you know,
time.
we have to deal with the anger and that's this bargaining. You know, God, if you just allow this, then I won't do this anymore. And we know, you know, I know for myself. I don't know about anybody else, but I bargain and I know that I'm a liar because I said, God, if you get me out of this jam, I'm not.
We all said that. Okay, we all said that you are not alone.
I'm certain. He got me out of that jam, but I found another jam. You know what I'm saying? So God, he knows us, but we have, and when we deal with our grief and our sorrow, we have to just be honest with God and know that the God that we serve, he's big enough and wise enough, and he can handle everything that we can throw at him. And people say, oh, you shouldn't ask God. Why? Well, why not? If you want to know the answer, then I'm going to go to God. Who else am I going to go to?
That's right. That's right.
Go to God. Don't be saying, don't ask God why. Ask God why not. No, okay, that all sounds good scripted. It all sounds good scripted. But when you're going through, that don't even make no sense to you. You're going to ask God why. And it's okay to ask God why.
Yes.
And then we can go to that place of depression.
Yes.
Depression is when we just sit. We sit in our mourning, and we sit in it. And we won't let the light of day come into it. We won't take any steps to be free of it. We come to that place where we just enjoy being miserable. And we don't want anybody around us. And when folk come around trying to boost you, trying to assist you, push them away.
Say it.
I want to stay where I want to stay. And I want to stay right here in my
Please.
depression. Oh, poor
Say
me.
it.
No, that's not God. That's the enemy who's trying to keep you from living because God wants you to live.
Yes.
He wants you to live. Have you ever noticed after somebody died that you can go outside and daggone birds still singing?
Yes.
Yes.
Blowing,
Yeah.
sun still coming
sun
up.
still
Like,
shining.
what? The world hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. So we can't allow this death or transition of our loved one to put us in that place. And we get there, but if we know that we're there, we got to get up.
Yes.
And we got to do
Yes.
some things. Now, I heard somebody say one time, well, if you're depressed, just open the windows and let some sunshine in. Well, let me just say this. If you're depressed and you're really depressed, I'm going to advise you to go find somebody, a professional, and get on that couch and let's do, and share with them everything that's going on with you so you can really deal with your depression.
Yes.
You can really deal with it. But I would say, yes, you do need to get up. You need to, as much as you can, try to be around people who are very positive, people who are enforcing in you those things that you need to hear.
Right.
And then you got to learn how to receive it and know that it's okay. And then you have to release yourself to know that it's okay to smile again, that it's okay to laugh again, that doing those things doesn't mean that you don't care any less about your loved one. It just means that you understand that you have to go on with your life. And your loved one would want you to go on with your life. And then we come to a place where we find acceptance and hope. And acceptance and hope that we understand the life that we once had is changed. It's just changed. It's just changed. You can't pick up the phone anymore and call that person. And you've got to come to grips with that and know that it's okay. But I can go on my knees, or I can just sit in a chair, or I can be walking around in a crowd of people, and I can call on Jesus.
Yes.
And He hears my cry, He hears my prayer, and He answers. And He allows us to find hope and encouragement in a new day. And that's what it is.
Yes.
A new day.
A new day.
A new day. And it's okay. And I always say, how we remember our loved ones, we can do that in a positive way. You know, you can plant a tree. You can start a scholarship fund. You can have a day of giving in your loved one's name. There are so many things that you can do to move forward with your acceptance and hope that you don't have to stay in that place. And so now in this season that we're in, Thanksgiving, and just had Thanksgiving and Christmas, and now looking forward to a new year.
Yes.
It is a season where people are laughing and people are crying.
Yes.
People are filled with joy and people feel hopeless. And so I'm saying to all of those who are out there who are listening in, if you're in that place where you are just down, I call it out of sorts, you're just missing your loved one.
Yeah.
First, I want to tell you it's okay to miss your loved one.
Right.
It's okay. That's normal. If you love somebody, of course you're going to miss them. When you think about a wife or a husband who's been married for 40, 50 years and their spouse passes on, dies, transitions, of course it's difficult for them. It is difficult for them to get up and move forward with their life because their normal, what they've known for all those years now, has changed.
Yes.
And so it's not so as children and relatives and friends, don't be so hard on them. Oh, just do it. Just get up. It's not that easy. Understand that.
It's not. It's not.
Allow them to share.
Even with God, it's not that easy.
No,
Allow
not
them
at all.
Don't ask them, how are you doing? You want to really know how I'm doing? Because, that ain't the right. I ain't curse you out if you ask me that.
Exactly.
You can ask them, how are you coping? Because that's what they're doing. And they will tell you, some days I'm coping minute to minute, some days hour to hour, and some days I just don't know.
Right.
And so
That is it.
allowing them to, you got to understand and you got to know that during this season you're going to feel some pain. My mother died December 19th, 2012. We buried her on December 28th. My sister and I were talking, and we were both saying, I said, I'm feeling a little something here. She said, me too, girl. I said, you know what? We're just missing Mama. And we started laughing. She said, yeah, we're missing Mama because this is the season, when we had to wait to get past Christmas to have her service. And then we started laughing about things she would have said to us. And our spirit began to lift. So you got to know that, yes, you're going to feel a loss.
Yes.
But once you start to remember that person aloud, call their name. It's okay. Sometimes people act like they can't call your loved one name. I don't know what they're going to say. They're not going to say anything. They might be happy that you call that person's name to let them know that you remember. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So we call that person's name. We called her name. We talked about her. Talk about her. Talk about your loved one. Remember the stories, the good times, the laughter, and then and then move forward. Get up. Yes, rest when you need to rest, but don't stay in that bed. Get up.
Yeah.
Get up.
And
Get up.
Reverend
Go do something. Yes.
Yeah. And can you provide information in terms of Mount Eden grief sessions, the dates and the times as we bring this session to a close and transition?
Yes.
Can you provide information?
So we meet twice a month, the second and the third Thursdays of each month at 7 p.m.
Okay, and if you can send me that information, I'll put it in this feed.
Okay.
Or if you're on the live now, if you can drop it in the feed, that would be great because I know that so many people need it. And I truly and sincerely thank you for joining us. I know you're out of town and you still made it possible.
Thank you.
Really, 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 really appreciate that. And in terms of people contacting you for any follow-up questions, when you provide the information, if we can put that information in the feed, or you can just send it to me and I'll drop it in the box because it's definitely something that people need assistance with. So again, I thank you so very much, and I thank you for the session that you had where you truly impacted me, and it was just one session.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you all so much, and thank your audience so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right. God bless.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
So, Reverend Rice will be joining us in just a moment to talk about her experiences and ways that you can deal with it or how you can heal through your transition. And a couple things from just what Reverend Smith said, and Bernie kind of laughed and looked at me in a moment. I was going through something when I was going through these deaths, and Bernie just kept calling me. I was just leave me alone. Leave me, and then I realized that she was helping me because I didn't know what was going on. And then I began to appreciate it and laugh about oh, there she goes again.
Right.
And then there was another time that Tina had kept calling and she didn't keep calling. She called me and checked on me, and it was the right time. When I tell you all, it was sincerely the right time. I ended up writing a post about it. I don't know what season or if it was depression, but it was 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Now y'all know I'm very active and I'm always thinking and moving and doing things. 3 weeks consecutive. I couldn't think, I couldn't focus, I couldn't sleep. It was mainly me laying down in the bed and me looking up at the ceiling because I could not focus. and it was like a horrible feeling. And then moving fast forward, speaking of Reverend Rice, like last night I had a moment. Speaking of the 28th, it was the anniversary of my friend's death. Is she on the line?
I accidentally hung up, I think.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. Hold on, Reverend Rice.
Okay, so you can keep her on. So I'm actually talking about you, Reverend Rice, about last night. How I just was like, can you call me for a minute? And I joked with her today in terms of I was really having a moment. And I was sleepy. She was asleep. I was on the pillow crying. She didn't know I was crying. But I told her today, like, she rocked me to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't sleep. I kept tossing and turning. But okay, Reverend Rice.
Reverend Rice, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you hear Ladrine?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Amen. Amen.
So, hey, I feel like she don't need any introduction. I talk about her all the time on this show. Talk about her prayers and her powerful prayers
Yes.
and a lot of projects that she has that she's working on. Right, Reverend Rice?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, she's our executive pastor at Mount Enon. And Reverend Rice, you can give them a quick overview, but I want you to really talk about like your process in dealing with the loss of your mom and how you were able to honor her.
Right. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, what a joy, what a pleasure. I feel so blessed to be a part of the discussion tonight, and such an appropriate topic, a way that everybody will have to take at some point in time in life.
Yes.
It's life. I had several, first of all, even before my father passed in 2000, and he passed suddenly in a automobile accident while he was on business travel, and we were obviously in shock. It was at that time, it was the greatest trauma I had ever experienced in life, and just a very, very difficult journey that only, kept by the grace of God. Time, of course, and I do believe that time heals all wounds, and you just have to give time.
Right there.
We over here like,
Give time.
My book, Ladrine.
okay.
Shameless plug. But anyway, and then in 2014, my mother passed suddenly. So my experiences with the two greatest people of impact and loves of my life left without saying goodbye. And that was extremely traumatic for me. Not one evening, but the evening before my mother passed, I insisted on us going to have ice cream. I don't know why, but I just insisted that we go to Chesapeake, the family. I pulled everybody and dared anybody to tell me no. We were going to Chesapeake, and we were going to get some ice cream from Dairy Freeze or whatever that place is out there. It has really good ice cream. But anyway, we all went at ice cream, saw a beautiful rainbow that night. We laughed, we joked, we had just the most amazing time that, of course, hindsight says God truly afforded us. And the following day, my mom just checked out.
Wow.
Later, I'm gone. Deuces, I'm gone. And it's like, are you kidding me right now? She had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
And again, and I do not elevate sudden death over slow death. They're just two very different experiences.
Yes.
And you process them differently. And so the journey for me, I was so close to my dad, and so and very extremely close to my mother as well. Just could not figure out why my mother's passing had a different kind of. It was just different. And as I reflect
I realized that, of course, when my dad passed, I had my mom. I had somebody who,
That's true.
we could process together and,
Right.
take the journey together. Probably came out of myself a little bit because I knew that she needed, quote unquote, or felt like she needed me. But we were there for each other. And even as a family, we're just very close-knit family. My sister Tania, all of us, we just hung in there. But, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a blow. It's a gut. It's something that goes on in your gut that you just cannot describe, a pain that runs so deep that only you and the Lord really, really, really understand.
Right.
And
Yes.
so the healing process was extremely challenging for my mom. Just even the nomenclature, when you lose your parents, even in court, you're referred to as orphans.
That's true.
And all of that just kind of messes with your mind. Life, your reflective moments are just extremely different. It's just, like I said, it's an experience, a way that we all have to take, but it's rough. It's rough. How I got through was because I knew that I didn't have a choice. Really, and I know some people may say, well, you really do, but I felt like I didn't have a choice. I remember when my father passed and I went to the house, I knew that it was bad news. Anytime you get a call from the police saying, we're at your mom's, can you meet us there like ASAP, there's nothing good that's coming out of that. And I remember when he passed, God said to me something that I will never forget. When I came in that door, I saw my mother's face, I saw my sister's face, I saw the officers standing there. I knew that my dad was gone. And I remember I went right to the back room where nobody was. I fell on my knees, and God said to me, this is where the rubber hits the road. If I am to you who you say that I am, then you must know that I will get you through this storm.
Jesus.
And he was faithful to
Amen.
do exactly as he promised that he would. Reverend Smith said it all. I mean, in terms of the process, in terms of the pain, I do know, and I want to share with anybody, because I know time is well spent, but one of the things that, there's a book out called Glad No Matter What, Turning Losses and Grief. I believe it's Success. The author's name is Sark, S-A-R-K. Very good book. It's it's a secular book. It's not a spiritual book, but it has a lot of what I feel is information that's very helpful in terms of dealing with your grief and reconciling, as Reverend Smith walked through all the feelings, everything, that you have going on. Everybody doesn't have a great relationship. I remember my Pastor Coach, said to me when I shared with him about how much pain I was going through, he was like, look, Reverend Rice, when you love deep, you hurt deep. And when you love deep, you hurt deep. So you can't deny the pain. You can't deny it. However, everybody is responsible for seeking God so that you can take your journey to healing. So the key is that you can go there, but you can't stay there.
Right.
You can put the covers over your head. You can cry. I mean, I cried. I didn't know I had that much water in my body. I mean, I shed some tears. You hear me? And crying is cleansing.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes,
people
it
who
really
try
is.
and pretend they're not hurting and pretend they're not, going through, and I tell people all the time, stop telling people,
Stop crying.
they in a better place. Stop saying
Yes.
stupid stuff. Serious loss, basically. Stop telling people that they could come back. They wouldn't want to. You don't want to hear that.
Not when
not
you
at that
older.
time.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. But you do have to ask the Lord to help you and pray for good grief. Pray
Yes.
for a healthy grief process
That's
because
right.
grieving, as Reverend Smith shared, grieving is a part of the journey. It's a part
Yes.
of life.
Right.
You are going to grieve. Just acknowledge that, accept that for what it is, embrace the journey, and then understand as God spoke to Joshua after Moses had passed, and he said to them, Moses, my son, is dead now. Get up.
Yes.
So you have to, as you are in your situation and your circumstances, know that God does expect for us to get up. And life is for the living. And so to Ladrine's point in embracing, I was very committed. I mean, it was, oh my God, the pain was unbearable, but I was very committed to taking this journey to Him. And to be honest with you, I'm still on my healing journey. God gave me the vision that summer to write a book. The book was to deal with healing from grief through hymnody. I have not completed the book yet. And God shared with me that you won't complete it until you are ready. And as much as I tried, it's not done yet. But in that process, he gave me another book, and I shared with Ladrine. It was like, okay, God, because this is too heavy. The healing through the hymnody was too heavy for the space that I was in. And so he gave me another project. It's called Wit and Wisdom, Lessons on Life, Love, and Leadership. And it's really a tribute to my parents because they deposited so much in me. You start to really think back like, gosh, I'm so blessed. Gosh, I had amazing parents. And I started just reflecting on some of the stuff that we ignore through life. I found myself recalling it all the time, having these amazing moments. Oh, that's what he meant. Oh, that's what Dad meant. Dad said this, Dad said that. Oh, gosh. And so I just began to write and compile all of the things that they shared and deposited in my life. And that was such a source of solace for me. It was such a joy. The project is in the design phase now, and so I'm looking forward to that project being released in the next couple of months or so. But that helped me. That's really what helped me.
And we're definitely looking forward to that project because we're going to have you back on the show, in the studio, just going through that. So I'm looking forward to that. I got bits and pieces of it. But can you talk about my favorite project? Can you talk about I Need You in terms of how you utilize that to help you get through?
Sure. So I had I have people around me who would always encourage me to sing. My mother would always encourage me to sing. I used to sing. My signature song was "I Won't Complain."
Okay.
And
can you sing it? No, I'm playing.
I'm playing. The song.
She said, "When you gonna find another song?" And so I said, "Oh gosh, okay, but this is the one that always brings me joy and relief." But as I thought through, I had friends that would always say, "Come on, you need to get in the studio. You need to get in the studio." And I was like, "Okay, let me find a hymn. I'll sing How Great They Are, and I'll sing this, I'll sing that." And I remember him saying to me specifically, "No, you have a song in you that's your song.
Amen.
And I need for you to step away and see what God says." And I went away and I sat there and I cried. Lord knows I cried. But and through my tears, God birthed The lyrics he gave me, God is so amazing.
Yes,
Y'all know I
yes.
don't really sing. It's like I'm not talented, but I have a shower anointing. So if you just put some water on
Yes.
me,
Sound good.
I can really get it out. Anyway, we went in the studio and he birthed the song "I Need You," and it was really a prayer. And the prayer is a spoken word project, and in working with Ladrine and kind of where I don't like to do anything just to be doing it.
Right.
So sometimes I'll do things and they'll sit until I know what purpose they really, really serve.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found out just this year that, and probably just a couple months ago, that the purpose of that was to make way for an opportunity for me to minister through prayer and combine the spoken word. And all of that, again, is a tribute to the deposits. It's amazing how our legacies, the legacies that our parents, loved ones pass on, they live on in us if we allow them to live.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know, like, for me, and we had a conversation, and I said something to you earlier. In terms of, like, although, like, that was God speaking to you, and that project was you to help you get through, and that the ultimate piece of it is, it's a legacy that you're leaving for your mom. But
Right.
I told you, like, when we run to the car, because I gave the ladies a copy of the CD. When we run to the car at the end of the show, Bernie and I mostly, we will have our
jealous.
windows rolled down, and we will both be playing your song. We will be playing your CD.
Your CD.
Tina had an incident where she had, like, a scenario, and it was like that CD. So no pressure.
But it helps us. And when I was going through and I felt like this is Bernie talking, I was losing my footing. I put that CD on that you had given us, and it helped uplift me. So I don't know what. Is it going to be released? When it's going to it's released?
It was out there.
So it need to be pushed more. So thank you. I just thank you. It just to have something to, along with the Bible to go and your voice and the words, and it just speaks to my soul and it just revives me. So I just want to thank you for that. And
That's God.
Yes.
I appreciate you for sharing. I thank God for that because he is just so faithful. And if we just allow him, he does want to minister to our spirit. And he finds the most amazing ways to do it if we just let go. If we just allow him. And, we should not be hard on ourselves because we do. Which is why I love that I won't complain because you're going to have some good
They try to steal your song.
Sunshine, and you're going to have some hills to climb, right?
Yes.
That's just life. And, thank God for networks. Thank God for our ability to reach out to, though. And, really understand. I think one of the most important things about grief is, as I said when I started, is that it's a way everybody going to have to take.
oh yes.
A lot of times we just feel like we're out there by ourselves. And I learned, even through that process, when my mother was here, we were so close, and people would come up to me, they were like, "Oh, I love you and your mother's relationship," and I understood, but I really didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, I love my mom. Yeah, we close with this, with that. But I'm going to tell you, I did not know how they felt when they were really missing their mom. Like, they would look at me and they would say things like, "Be good to your mother." They would just say, "Oh,
No matter what.
yes. they would just like shake their head sometimes. And I was like, gosh, But I knew because I would say myself, I don't know what I'd do if I lost my mom. But you know what? I had to find out.
Yeah.
So it's good to, have people who do understand. When you lose a mom, talking with someone who's lost their mother.
Right.
Because they do understand. So we got to stop saying, oh, I understand how you feel. No, you really don't.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, you really don't. But we find a way to get through it. God is faithful, and He will get us through it.
Yes, He will. And I love you to death, and I can talk to you all day long. We talk for hours and hours.
Are you putting me off this?
I actually wanted to see. That's how she always does. But I wanted to just say, like, I'm looking forward to you coming on the show. So I know we're working out. I don't know whether it's going to be January or February. But in closing, can you talk about your podcast?
Oh, yes. Oh, I am so excited because everybody that's listening, y'all know LaDrew loves to talk, right?
Yes.
They do.
We get along because I do too. Okay. So I'm really excited because my podcast is launching this month, and I'll get a chance to really talk.
Yes.
And,
Congratulations.
Yes. So happy about that.
Yes.
Now, I'm really excited. Just really an opportunity to share. I'm real, in ministry and matters of the heart. I'm big on conversation in all seriousness. I really believe that, amazing breakthroughs happen when we're able to just really sit down and reflect and talk about it. And so God gave me the inspiration to start a podcast. It is Seeing Inspiration. on Seeing Inspiration, and it's launching the 7th of January.
Yes.
January, yes.
Congratulations.
So get ready.
Yes.
It will every Monday.
Yeah. So we're so excited and looking forward to it.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you, and I thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on our show. And as the ladies have said, we love you.
I love you all. Thank you for having me. Y'all are amazing.
so
Y'all
welcome.
look good too. I'm looking at I can't hear y'all, but I'm looking at y'all.
Right. Do you have would you happen to have an email you can provide us? Someone is asking for your email.
Yes. It is Seeing, C as in candy, ING, his, HIS, work,
One word.
WORKS, at AOL.com. Seeing his works at AOL.com.
And if you have a moment, can you drop it in the feed if you can?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, thank you so much because this is how
right.
we do. Like, bye, Reverend Rice.
Bye.
Bye.
And she said she could see us.
So, there you have it. You had the women of Mount Enon, Reverend Smith. She put I copied the information. If you are dealing and you're struggling with grief, her sessions that she lead are very wonderful. And then Reverend Rice, she'll be back on the show, but y'all already know that she has a piece of my heart. Really got me through so much stuff. We are going to take a very quick commercial. On the other side, we kind of talk about journaling and writing. Allison is going to talk about that, and then we have some giveaways. So show's going to run slightly over, but we want to make sure that we get through Allison's information and all the details about journaling and writing, and we want to give away some prizes. So we'll see you all in about 2 minutes.
Yes, prizes.
So we're still on?
Yeah, wait for it to turn green. Are you standing on your feet all day or sitting for hours on the job? Are you dealing with back, neck, and shoulder pain? Well, I got just the thing for you. Visit Optimum Wellness Services, where you will be provided with holistic treatments from therapeutic massages, meditation, nutrition, exercises, breathing, and stretching techniques to all help you promote relaxation and rejuvenation. Text APPT to 202-230-8511. That's 202-230-8511. You'll have an assessment. You will be glad you did. Let's Do This radio talk show. Advertisement and sponsorship opportunity. If you have a service, product, event, or initiative that you would like to promote, connect with us at Let's Do This. We are offering various sponsorships. We also have opportunities for 60-second ads and 10-minute takeover segments. Of course, this is in addition to our VIP guests. So check out our website, www.letsdothisradiotalkshow.com, for more information. So welcome back. As we said, we have Allison, who has been on set with us, and she's going to further the conversation a little teeny bit more. But I need you all to get all of your devices together. So this is my hint in terms of how to enter the contest. So very quickly, I'm going to go through and tell you what you can win. We're going to have Allison, and then we're going to say go and tell you how to. So right now, you're only saying what they are going to win.
Okay.
So quickly, Bernie.
All right. With BB Coaching, you will be receiving my book, a prayer journal, and I'm also offering 1 hour of personal development coaching.
So,
My book.
Okay, go ahead. I'm
My
sorry.
book, Life Goes On. So I'm going to be offering that book.
Okay. And Tina?
I will be giving out walking.
Give me this. I want this.
Look, I knew already. Y'all gotta excuse Dreamer.
You messing it up.
Walking the runway for Jesus.
Yes. I need one of those for real. And
Yes.
for Do It, there are 2 things. One is 2 tickets to the Yolanda Adams. Yolanda Adams, I love her. It is actually the Holiday Praise Celebration with Yolanda Adams and Marvin Sapp. And it is tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at Constitution Hall. So make sure you're available when I tell you
We'll
how
be
you
there.
can win
We
the
will
tickets.
be there.
And then the second piece, I have a gift certificate for Do It. Now you can win a free consultation through Do It for business or either for career. So we'll talk about that right after Allison gets finished with her information. But Allison, so can we transition? First of all, like both of the reverends were great. But I also want to say Allison is a reverend also.
Ooh, we surrounded.
Yeah, so Allison is a reverend, so we were surrounded
Amen.
with blessings today.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Allison, take it away.
So one of the benefits that they were talking about, the other ministers, and thank God for them, is that there is a process in grieving. And some people, you may try to rush it along, but there is a process. And so when I wrote this book, I was going through a thing or a healing process when my dad passed away. And so one of the things that I learned how to do, and I've been doing it for a long time, is journaling, writing down things. Every morning when I get up between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, I am up writing and writing things down. Writing, one of the benefits of writing is that it does release stress. It's like therapy for you. And if you don't really pay it any attention, or if you do pay it some mind, you know that it releases stress. It gives you another perspective on everything that you're going through, because if you can write down how you feel at that moment and come back and revisit, you'll realize that, that's how I was feeling at that time. But a year from now, when you go back and reflect, you can help someone on what they have gone through down through the years, because you have already been through it, where writing helped you to get past it. And then another thing is, whether it's a good time or bad time, if you start learning how to write it out, I didn't just write 31 books overnight.
Right.
It was a process.
Right.
And so grieving is a process. And I definitely like what Reverend Rice said, when, you hear people always saying, well, I know how you feel. I never tell people I know how you feel, because I really don't know how you feel. So if you can kind of walk them through the process of just, writing their thoughts down, speaking to someone, those are all your healing points. Those are all your ways of dealing with your hurt and your pain, because it is a process. And when I wrote this book, Life Goes On, is because I really didn't know or didn't feel that my life could go on. And so sometimes we get stuck right there. But this book helped me, because it was like a defining moment. There was a moment of life goes on. And then, like how Ladrine was saying, how many people she had lost back to back, I was losing people year to year to year. And then I'm like the head person of the family, so I conducted all of the funerals. I put all the funerals together. I went to the funeral homes. I talked to the funeral directors. So it's like life goes on. But it wasn't until that one person that hit me more than anything, and that was my grandmother, that I couldn't do it again. So I really never really wanted to put funerals together or help, but my grandmother kept saying, you can do this, you can do this. It wasn't something that I wanted to do anymore, but it's something that, I'm really good in. But you will never get good at losing someone.
Right. One of the things, and very quickly, that I wanted to say, and Trina wrote it in the feed, her struggles are thoughts of loved ones replaying in her head over and over and over again. And I had that issue, and I actually ended up writing a poem to help me to deal with my my friend's death. So go ahead. I just wanted to.
No, that's another thing. Poems are actually good to write down. And it doesn't have to have a flow. Like some poems have an ending, in, and then. It doesn't have to be like that. It's just how you feel. Today I lost a loved one. I don't know how to go on. If I decide that I don't want to go on, then where do I go from here? So it's kind of like that flow of your emotions that you put down on paper. Then as time go on, you start changing, because you have it here, but you'll start changing. I can go on because I'm here another day. I can laugh a little because I made it. So it's you trying to go through your own grieving process. But if it's just you journaling for that day or for that moment, I just journal every day. That's just what I do. But some people may want to do it once a month. Every 7th of the month, I go back and I look at my journal. Not that I go through each page, but I go through where God has said, I need you to go back to that date, and I need you to go back to that date.
That's how
and
she
that's
has
how
31 books.
And that's how I can, pick it up and realize my growth through what God has taken me through. And just to let people know, life does go on. And I like what the other minister said, but I couldn't. I want to say it was Reverend Wright, where it said, you can laugh again. And I always tell people, you can laugh again, you can begin again. You can start all over. It doesn't just end, but it is a process that takes place.
It truly is a process.
I'm sorry.
When you're in it, you really don't realize
realize it.
That this too will pass. This too, it'll get better.
But that's where your support team comes.
Exactly.
That's when, like the two of you did, and I sent you an email too, a text.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So I thank everybody. Yes.
Yes.
And although you do have, I have some friends. I have maybe 2 friends. Well, a friend of mine that's on here. I lost my mom first, and then, so she was there with me, right there physically, and then, her mom.
Yes.
And so I know it was difficult, the part that, where I stood in for her. But just although you have that support system, when you're alone, because
Yes.
at some point you are alone. You have to go home, go to bed, and be by yourself. And
Yes.
so my friend was explaining, although you do have that support system, it still feels like, when is this ever going to end?
It's still that walk alone.
You still
It's
feel
that
empty.
empty.
I like how you have places for them to read and then write. That's
Yes.
I think that helps with going through the process. How can they get that book?
Amazon.com, or either on my website is www.alisongdaniels.com.
Okay. Yeah, like
And this is book number 30.
it's actually like different activities that talk you through and walk you through.
Yes.
So it will help you with the process in terms of as you are writing it
Going
down.
through.
Yes. But
And
can-
ask you questions, things that you would need to answer to help you get through the process.
and can you provide like any last minute tips before you provide your social media information and your upcoming events?
Well, let me just share this one thing that I try to share. I'm on Facebook Live every Monday morning at 5 a.m.
At what time?
5 a.m.
At 5 a.m.
I be struck. Look, I be like, I'm gonna get on this morning.
That's about what time I'm going to sleep. Right.
I'm on there at 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
And I always close out with, your purpose still stands regardless of your past. So no matter what you've gone through in life, your purpose still stands regardless of your past. So
I
don't
like
give
that.
up. And God still has a purpose and a plan for you. So you have to realize that your purpose still stands regardless of your past.
Absolutely.
Don't allow your past to sabotage your future. Actually, it can't. But that mind game can be played, and you'll think that
And
you
that's
know
a
it'll
whole,
never happen.
That's a whole different
It is.
topic. So I'm not going to chime in. But everything that you go through, you may
Yes.
think that it's bad, or you may think it's this. It is a lesson in it, and it's something
Yes.
that you're supposed to learn
Right.
and go and grow through it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how can they reach you, and what do you have coming up? Like closing out.
For social media, I am on Facebook, Allison Daniels, and then on Instagram, Allison Daniels 29. But on this Sunday, I'll be closing out 2018 as a guest on the Archie Beslow, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Beslow show on this coming Sunday at 6:00 p.m.
Okay, so make sure you
14:50
put it in
a.m.
the feed and also remind us as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So
Drum
this
roll.
is the moment you've been waiting for. Y'all know I used to be a rapper too, right? But one of the things is we like to give back.
Right.
Yes.
And we talked about the giveaway, so I'm gonna go over them one more time. And I failed to, although Katrina and Ida are not here, Katrina is giving away 2 hours of event space at Next Gen, at Global Next Gen, and Ida is giving away Artificial Beauty. And y'all know I'm one of the authors in this book, but I actually talk about dealing with 2 deaths and also unforgiveness. So we're gonna go down again. Trina is giving away 2 hours of Global Next Gen, and that's Katrina Bullock Martin.
And for me, Tina Hunter, I am giving away, once again, this beautiful, this is one of my products, Walking the Runway for Jesus.
And then Ida Robinson is giving out this book, Artificial Beauty, featuring moi.
And I will be giving out this book, Life Goes On, How to Maintain Your Faith Through Adversity.
And I, Bernadette Bronner, will be giving out the Strength, Hope, Encouragement, and Empowerment Prayer Journal. This is a great book to have to go deeper in your prayer life, or if you don't know how to pray, I show you how to pray. It deals with the whole person, the whole man. It's for women, and it's a journal. So it starts off every day, 28 days, it's 30 days, the last 31 days, the last 3 days is a fast. And it just talks about this particular one, open up day 3, healing.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and I'm giving away 1 hour personal development life coaching.
All right. And so now we're going to be rushing a little bit because the next set is trying to get ready and get set. So Do It Delivers. I am giving away 2 tickets to the Yolanda Adams concert to
Anita Baker.
the holiday.
Anita Baker, not Yolanda Adams. Did you say Yolanda?
Girl, did you say Anita Baker? I'm not giving away my Anita Baker tickets. Yolanda Adams, the holiday concert. Mom is like, she's trying to stall us something. But 2 tickets tomorrow night. So please make sure that you're available to the go 7:30 p.m. And I'm also giving away 1 hour of consultation, business, and or career. So you want to know how you win them. The first person to inbox us for our gifts. Mine is for the consultation. First person to inbox me either Facebook or either Instagram. The same for everyone else.
Yes, same
Tina
format,
for the shirt,
same format.
Bernie for the book, Allison for the book, Trina for the 2 hours, and also Ida for her book. For the Yolanda Adams show, and I did that backwards. The first person that inbox me get the Yolanda Adams. I'm sorry, get the Yolanda Adams. For the Do It consultation, you know what? First and second person. I'll just make it easier that way. So number 1, and number 2.
Not Anita Baker.
Not Anita Baker. Right. Trina knows better than that. Trina knows better than that. So we'll be checking out messages and we got the time.
We got to go.
Y'all know how we end the
So
show.
we just say happy holidays. Happy, safe New Year's. It's a new year. We're rolling out of 2018.
Absolutely.
We all have been up and down all around the Marbury's bush. But guess what? We are still standing. And that's what I like about God. Regardless of the trials and tribulations, to God be the glory.
Yes.
We are still standing.
We got another reverend over here.
That's right. Count your blessings.
Yes.
Thank
Get
you.
up and thank God for everything that you have.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes.
I so love these women. Look how far. Look how far. I'm in Woodbridge and come out an hour and some change. Okay, every Thursday. So if there's something that you really know you want to do, or you trying to be better and do better, connect with the people.
Connect with us.
Yes.
Connect.
got
Stop
something
being
for
afraid.
you.
Stop
We're gonna
cheating
push you.
yourself. Stop being afraid to pull them coins out your pockets.
Yes.
Okay? Level up. 2019 is here.
All right, y'all.
So-
Thank you, and thanks for being with us this last quarter.
Yes.
Shall we? This is the last time we're doing this year. Glitter. Thank y'all so much for joining. Thank you, Reverend Rice. Thank you, Reverend Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Trina, Ida, even though you're not here. We see y'all on the flip side of the year.
Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's.
It just went off.
Great show.